Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Sarmataji, Sarvat Pranam. Thank you so much for joining. Hare Krishna, Pandaraga Priya Prabhu, Padmamalini Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you so
हरे
much.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna, Michael Evan, Dhanavad Pranam. Sagar Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Sarchita Mataji, Advaita Pranam Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you, Pushkara. Hare Krishna, Bhaktika Mataji, Jagannath Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Let us begin the session. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Sudhati Paschatani Satani Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha Panchakalpatarobhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyeva Patitana Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, titled Description the Characteristics of King Puranjana, which is an allegorical story of the living entity enjoying the material life for the city of Nine Gates. We have seen till 10th shloka. So we have seen Narada Muni's mercy on Prachina Parhisar, where the scene is set, and we have seen the story of King Puranjana starts. The allegorical story begins with two friends of Priyat and Avignata, and he is searching for suitable place. And we'll see the city of Nine Gates discovered, and we see the different aspects of the city. What are these walls, parks, towers, trenches, windows, gates, houses? What is the capital of the state? Floor, all the assembly houses. So we'll see today all this. So let me share my screen. Hare Krishna Padmamalini Mataji, text number 11.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। Translation. King Puranjana began to search for a suitable place to live, and thus he traveled all over the world. Even after a great deal of traveling, he could not find a place just to his liking. Finally, he became morose and disappointed. Purport. The travelings of Puranjana are similar to the travelings of the modern hippies. Generally, hippies are sons of great fathers and great families. It is not that they are always poor, but some way or another they abandon the shelter of their rich fathers and travel all over the world. As stated in the verse, the living entity wants to become May Prabhu or master. The word Prabhu means master, but actually the living entity is not a master. He is the eternal servant of God. When the living entity abandons the shelter of God, Krishna, and rise to become May Prabhu independently, he travels all over the creation. There are 84 lakh species of life and millions and trillions of planets within the creation. The living entity wanders throughout these various types of bodies and throughout different planets, and thus he is like King Puranjana, who traveled all over the world looking for a stable place to live. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Pandan Plego, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sri Narottam Das Thakura has sung Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Kevala Visera Banda. The path of Karma Kanda, fruitive activities, and the path of Gyan Kanda, speculation, are just like strong pots of poison. Amrit Baliya Yeva Khaya Naya Yoni Sada Fire. A person who mistakes this poison to be nectar and drinks it, travels in different species of life. Kadreya Bakshana Kare, and according to his body, he eats all types of abominable things. For instance, when the living entity is in the body of a dog, he eats stool. When the living entity is in the body of a crow, he eats all kinds of refuse, even pus and mucus, and enjoys it. Thus, Narottama Das Thakura points out that the living entities travels in different type of bodies and eats all kinds of abnormal things. When he does not become ultimately happy, he becomes morose or takes to the ways of hippies. Thus, in this verse, it is said, "Na anurupam," that the king could never find a place suitable for his purposes. This is because in any form of life and on any planet in the material world, a living entities cannot be happy because everything in the material world is unsuitable for the split soul. As stated in this verse, the living entities independently wants to become a Prabhu, but as soon as he gives up this idea and becomes a servant of God Krishna, his happiness immediately begins. Therefore, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur sings, नीचे मार्या वसे अच्छा बेसे कांचा कांचा हाबू दुव भाई. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु.
Hare Krishna Pushkala. And then till
Hare Krishna. My dear living entity, why are you being carried by the waves of fire? As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. The living. Can I continue?
yeah, continue.
The living entity is carried in the machine of the body through so many spices of life on so many planets. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakura asks the living entity why he is being carried away in these bodily machines to be placed in so many different circumstances. He advises that one surmount the waves of Maya by surrendering unto Krishna. Jiva Krishna Dasa ev Vishwasa Karle the ara dukkha nai. As soon as we confront Krishna, Krishna advises Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18.66.
Hare Krishna, Maitri Mataji, you can continue till then.
Hare Krishna. Thus, we are immediately relieved from traveling from one body to another and from one planet to another. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmana Brahmi Kono Bhagavatam. Java Madhya 19.515. If while traveling a living entity becomes fortunate enough to become blessed by the association of devotees and to come to Krishna consciousness, his real life actually begins. This Krishna consciousness moved is given all wandering living entities a chance to take to the shelter of Krishna and thus become happy. In this verse, the word Vamana Vai are very significant. In this material world, even the great kings of heavens is also full of anxiety. If every Lord Brahma is full of anxiety, what of those ordinary living entities who are working within this planet? Bhagavad Gita 8.16 confirms above Brahm Bhuvam Lokam Puran Avam Rujam. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of mercy wherein repeated birth and death takes place. In the material world, a living entity is never satisfied. Even the position of Brahman or in the position of Indra or Kandra, one is full anxiety simply because he has accepted his material world as a place of happiness.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Sagatpur, text number 12. Hare Krishna, Sagatpur.
Hare Krishna. King Puranjana had unlimited desires for sense enjoyment. Consequently, he traveled all over the world to find a place where all his desires could be fulfilled. Unfortunately, he found a feeling of insufficiency everywhere. Srila Vidyapati, a great Vaishnava poet, sang, Tatras Saikate Varibindu Soma Sutta Mita Ramani Samaje. Material sense gratification is society, friendship, and love. Each herein compared to a drop of water filling on a desert. It does just requires oceans of water to satisfy it. And if only a drop of water is supplied, what is its use? Similarly, the living entity is part of and parcel of the Supreme Personality Godhead, who, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, is Anandamayo Bhyasa, full of enjoyment. Being part and parcel of Supreme Personality Godhead, the living entity is also seeking complete enjoyment. Our complete enjoyment cannot be achieved separate from the Supreme Personality Godhead. In his wandering in different species of life, the living entity may taste some type of enjoyment in one body or another, but full enjoyment of the sense cannot be attained in any material body. Thus, Puranjana, the living entity, wanders in different types of bodies, but everywhere meets frustration in his attempt to enjoy. In other words, the spiritual spark covered by matter cannot fully enjoy the sense in any circumstance in material life. A deer may become absorbed in the musical sounds vibrated by the hunter, but the reason is that it loses its life. Similarly, a fish is very expert in gratifying its tongue, but when it eats the bait offered by the fisherman, it loses its life. Even the elephant, in each and every species of life, even in the elephant, who is so strong, is captured and loses its independence.
Hare Krishna.
While satisfying its genitals with a female elephant. In each and every species of life, the living entity gets a body to satisfy various senses. But he cannot, why it is changing so frequently, but he cannot enjoy all these senses at one time. In the human life form of life, he gets an opportunity to enjoy all his senses pervertedly, but the result is that he becomes so harassed in his attempted sense of gratification that he ultimately becomes morose. As he tries to satisfy senses more and more, he becomes more and more entangled.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Jagannath, text number 13. First paragraph.
Translation. One while wandering in this way, he saw on the southern side of the Himalayas, in place
Can
of
you be
many
please a bit louder? Your voice is.
Once while wandering in this way, he sat on the southern side of the Himalayas. In place of named Bharata Varsha, India, a city that had 9 gates all about and was characterized by all auspicious facilities. Purport. The tract of land south of Himalaya mountains is the land of India, which was known as Bharatavarsha. When a living entity takes birth in Bharatavarsha, he is considered to be the most fortunate. Indeed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stated,
ಭಾರತ ಭೂಮಿತೆ ಹೈಲ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಜನ್ಮ ಯಾರ ಜನ್ಮ ಸಾರ್ಥಕ ಕರಿಕರ ಉಪಕಾರ.
thus, whoever takes the birth in the land of Bharatavarsha attains all the facilities of life. He may take advantage of all these facilities for both material and spiritual advancement and thus make his life successful. After attaining the goal of life, one may distribute his knowledge and experience all over the world for humanitarian purposes. In other words, one who takes birth in the land of Bharatavarsha by virtue of his past previous activities gets fully facility to develop the human form of life. In India, the climatic condition is such that one can live very peacefully without being disturbed by material conditions. Indeed, during the time of Maharaja Yudhishthira or Lord Ramachandra, people were free from all anxieties. There was not an even extreme cold or extreme heat. The 3 kinds of miserable conditions, Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, and Adithaivika, miseries inflicted by the body and mind itself, those inflicted by other living entities and natural disturbances were all absent during the reign of Lord Ramchandra or Maharaja Yudhishthira. But at present, compared to other countries on the earth, India is artificially disturbed. Despite these material disturbances, however, these countries' culture is such that one can easily attain the goal of life, namely salvation or liberation from material bondage. Thus, in order to take the birth in India, one must have performed many pious activities in past life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhakti Mataji, next prayer.
Hare Krishna. In this verse, the word Lakshita Lakshanam indicates that the human body attained in Bharatavarsha is very auspicious. Vedic culture is full of knowledge, and a person born in India can fully take advantage of Vedic cultural knowledge and the cultural system known as Varnashram Dharma. Even at present time, as we travel all over the world, we see that in some countries human beings have many material facilities but no facilities for spiritual advancement. We find everywhere the defects of one-sided facilities and lack of full facilities. A blind man can walk but not see, and a lame man cannot walk but can see. For the following the logic called Andha Pangunyaya. The blind man may take the lame man over his shoulder, and as the blind man walks, the lame man may give him directions. Thus, combined, they may walk, but individually, neither the blind man nor the lame man can walk successfully. Similarly, this human form of life is meant for the advancement of spiritual life and for keeping the material necessities in order. Especially in Western countries, there are ample facilities for material comfort, but no one has any idea of spiritual advancement. Many are hankering after spiritual advancement, but many cheaters come take advantage of their money, bluff them, and go away. Fortunately, the Krishna consciousness movement is there to give all facilities for both material and spiritual advancement. In this way, people in Western countries may take advantage of this movement. In India, any man in villages unaffected by the industrial cities of India can still live in any condition and make spiritual advancement. The body has been called the city of 9 gates, and these 9 gates include 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, and a genital organ and a rectum. When the 9 gates are clean and working properly, it is to be understood that body is healthy. In India, these 9 gates are kept clean by the villagers who rise early in the morning, bathe in the well or rivers, go to temples to attend Mangalarti, chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and take prasada. In this way, one can take advantage of all facilities of human life. We are gradually introducing the system in different centers in our society in Western countries. One who takes advantage of it becomes more and more enlightened in spiritual life. At the present moment, India may be compared to the lame man in Western countries to blind man. For the past 2000 years, India has been subjugated by the rule of foreigners and the legs of progress have been broken. In Western countries, the eyes of people have become blind due to dazzling glitter of material opulence. The blind man of Western countries and the lame man of India should combine together in the Krishna consciousness movement. Then the lame man of India can walk with the help of Westerner, and the blind Western can see with the help of lame man. In short, material advancement of Western countries and spiritual assets of India should combine for the elevation of all human society.
Hare Krishna Saraswati Namaste, text number 14N. Hare Krishna Saraswati Namaste. Are you there?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, 14 and 15.
Translation. The city was surrounded by walls and parks, and within it were towers, canals, windows, and outlets. The houses there were decorated with with domes made of silver and iron. Purport. The body is protected by walls of skin. The hairs on the body are compared to the parks, and the highest parts of the body, like nose and head, are compared to towers. The wrinkles and depressions on different parts of the body are compared to trenches or canals. The eyes are compared to windows, and the eyelids are compared to protective gates. The three types of metal, gold, silver, and iron, represent the three modes of material nature. Gold represents goodness, silver passion, and iron ignorance. The body is also sometimes considered to be a bag containing three elements, Tridhatu, mucus, bile and air, Kapha, Pitta and Vayu. Yashyatma Buddhihi Kunape Tridhatuke. According to Bhagavatam 10.84.13, one who considers this bag of mucus, bile and air to be the self is considered no better than a cow or an ass.
Yeah, continue.
The floors of the houses in that city were made of sapphire, crystal, diamonds, pearls, emeralds and rubies. Because of the luster of the houses in the capital, the city was compared to the celestial town named Bhogavati. Purport. In the city of the body, the heart is considered to be the capital. Just as the capital of a state is especially gorgeously filled with various high buildings and lustrous palaces, the heart of the body is filled with various desires and plans for material enjoyment. Such plans are sometimes compared to valuable jewels such as sapphires, rubies, pearls and emeralds. The heart becomes the center for all planning for material enjoyment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Advaita Prabhu, text number 16.
Text 16. In that city, there are assembly houses, street crossings, streets, restaurants, gambling houses, markets, resting places, flags, festoons, and beautiful parks. All these surrounded the city. In this way, the capital is described. In the capital, there are assembly houses and many squares, many street crossings, avenues and streets, many gambling places, markets, and places of rest, all decorated with flags and festoons. The squares are surrounded with railings and are devoid of trees. The heart of the body can be compared to the assembly house, for the living entity is within the heart along with the Paramatma, and thus the heart is the center of all remembrance, forgetfulness and deliberation. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 50, in the body, the eyes, ears and nose are different places of attraction for sense enjoyment, and the streets for going hither and thither may be compared to different types of body. The yogic process of controlling the air within the body and the different nerves is called Susumna, the path of liberation. The body is also a resting place because when the living entity becomes fatigued, it takes rest within the body. The palms and the soles of the feet are compared to stones. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Padma Malini Mansi, text number 7.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. On the outskirts of the city were many beautiful trees and creepers encircling a nice lake. Also surrounding that lake were many groups of birds and bees that were always chanting and humming. Purport. Since the body is a great city, there must be various arrangements such as lakes and garlands of gardens for sense enjoyment of the various parts of the body. Those which incite sexual impulses are referred to here indirectly because the body has Gentiles, when the living entity attains the right age, be he man or woman, he becomes agitated by the sex impulse. As long as one remains a child, he is not agitated by seeing a beautiful woman, although the sense organs are present. Unless the age of ripe, there is no sex impulse. The favorable conditions surrounding the sex impulse are compared here to a garden or a nice solitary park. When one sees the opposite sex, naturally the sex impulse increases. It is said that if a man in solitary place does not become agitated upon seeing a woman, he is to be considered a brahmachari. But this practice is almost impossible. The sex impulse is so strong that even by seeing, touching, or talking, coming into contact with, or even thinking of the opposite sex, even so many subtle ways, one becomes sexually impelled. Consequently, a brahmachari or sannyasi is prohibited to associate with women, especially in a secret place. The Shastras enjoin that one should not even talk to a woman in a secret place, even if she happens to be one's own daughter, sister, or mother. The sex impulse is so strong that even if one is very learned, he becomes agitated in such circumstances. If this is the case, how can a young man in a nice park remain calm and quiet after seeing a beautiful young woman? Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Pandal Devo.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The branches of the trees standing on the banks of the lake received particles of water carried by the spring air from the falls coming down from the icy mountain. Purport. In this verse, the word Nirjara is particularly significant. The waterfall represents a kind of liquid humor or rasa relationship. In the body, there are different types of humor, rasa, or mellow. The supreme mellow relationship is called the sexual mellow, adi rasa. When this adi rasa or sex desires comes in contact with the spring air moved by Cupid, it becomes agitated. In other words, all these are representation of Rupa Rasa, Gandha Sabda, and Sparsa. The wind is Sparsa or touch. The waterfall is Rasa or taste. The spring air, Kusumakara, is smell. All these varieties of enjoyment make life very pleasing, and thus we become captivated by material existence. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maitri Madhya, number 19.
Hare Krishna. In such an atmosphere, even the animals of the forest become non-violence and non-violence like great sags. Consequently, the animals did not attack anyone. Over and above everything was the cooling of the courts. Any passengers passing along the path was invited by the atmosphere to take rest in the nice garden. Purport. A peaceful family with a wife and children is compared to the peaceful atmosphere of the forest. Children are compared to non-violent animals. Sometimes, however, we use the children are called Savya Janoka. They are battles in the name of Krishna. A man earns his livelihood with hard labor, but the result is that he is plucked by his wife and children, exactly as a person in the forest is attacked by some thieves and burglars who take this money non-thingless. In family life, the turmoil of wife and child appears to be like the cooling of the cooks in the garden. of family life. Being invited by such an atmosphere, the person who is passing through such a blissful family life deserves to have his family with him at all the cost. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Talat?
Hare Krishna. Text 20 translation. While wandering here and there in that wonderful garden, King Puranjana suddenly came in contact with a very beautiful woman who was walking there without any engagement. She had 10 servants with her, and each servant had hundreds of wives accompanying him. But the body has already been compared to a beautiful garden. During youth, the sex impulse is awakened, and the intelligence, according to one's imagination, is prone to contact the opposite sex. In youth, a man or woman is in search of the opposite sex by intelligence or imagination. If not directly, the intelligence influences the mind, and the mind controls the 10 senses. 5 of these senses gather knowledge, and 5 work directly. Each sense has many desires to be fulfilled. This is the position of the body and the owner of the body, Puranjana, who is within the body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Saraswati, text number 21, paragraph.
Hare Krishna. 21. The woman was protected by on all sides by a 5-footed snake. She was very beautiful and young, and she appeared very anxious to find a suitable husband. The vital force of a living entity includes the 5 kinds of air working within the body, which are known as prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. The vital force is compared to the serpent because a serpent can live by simply drinking air. The vital force carried by the air is described as a prathara or the bodyguard. Pratihara or the bodyguard. Without the vital force, one cannot live for a moment. Indeed, all the senses are working under the protection of the vital force.
Hare Krishna. Devasamu. You can read the next paragraph.
Second para. The Hare Krishna. The woman who represents intelligence was searching after a husband. This indicates that intelligence cannot act without consciousness. A beautiful woman is useless unless protected by the proper husband. Intelligence must always be very fresh. Therefore, the word aprudhan, very young, is used here. Material enjoyment means utilizing the intelligence for the sake of rupa, rasa, gandha, sabda, and sparsha, or from taste, smell, sound, and touch. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Bhakti Mantra, text number 22.
Hare Krishna. The woman's nose, teeth, and forehead were all very beautiful. Her ears were equally very beautiful, and were decked with dazzling earrings. Purport. The body of intelligence enjoys the objects of sense gratification that covers it, such as smell, vision, and hearing. The word sunasam, very beautiful nose, indicates the organ for acquiring knowledge by smell. Similarly, the mouth is instrument for acquiring knowledge by taste. By chewing an object and touching it with the tongue, we can understand its taste. The word sukapolam, nice forehead, indicates a clear brain capable of understanding things as they are. By intelligence, one can set things in order. The earrings set upon the 2 ears are placed there by the work of intelligence. Thus, the ways of acquiring knowledge are described metaphorically.
Right. Thank you so much. Okay, so Satyamati, you can read the last paragraph. Hare Krishna Satyamati. I will continue. Page number 23. The waist and hips of a woman were very beautiful. She was dressed in a yellow saree with a golden belt. While she walked, her ankle bones rang. She appeared exactly like a damsel of the heavens. This verse expresses the joyfulness of the mind upon seeing a woman with raised hips and breasts, dressed in an attractive saree and bedecked with honor. Thank you. Thank you so much. So it's already 8 o'clock. We'll stop it here. We'll again meet on Tuesday the same time. Thank you. So Hare Krishna, Pandrak Behu, Padma Thank Dhanavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Guruji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Maitri Mati, Dhanavad Pranam. Pushkara, thank you so much. Saraswati Mati, Abhishek Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Sagar Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Bhaktika Mati, Jagannath Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Pancha Kalpatarum, Vishta Kripa, Sindhu, Bhavacha, Patitanam, Bhavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namah. अनंत कोटि विष्णु वृंद की जय रामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की। We'll meet again on Tuesday at the same time. Hare Krishna.